please hit like, share, and subscribe. Now enjoy the Practical Guitarist podcast.
How come when we ship things with cars, they call it shipments, but when it's sent on a boat, it's called cargo?
The unanswerable questions.
Of Robert Jackson?
That's right. That's
you
right.
guys may have heard my wife in the background go, "Oh my God."
I didn't hear her, but I'm sure that she did. We'll have to have Zoe do a guest appearance at some point.
He might be the first 3-time loser on this show.
I know.
4 times. You've been on the show 4 times.
This is my 4th time.
4th time, yeah.
You poor son of a bitch.
I
Don't you have better people to talk to?
The only other guest that I've met in person is Michelangelo Badio.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that makes sense. You guys live in the same city.
Yep. Yeah, actually, wasn't he playing like in a club right around the street from you or something?
Yeah. I walked into the club and like introduced myself to it.
Yeah, I think you invited him at one of his shows, didn't you?
Yeah.
I remember.
I paid to get in.
I couldn't believe. So David actually. Well, you tell the story, David, about how you asked him to join the show.
This show is all right. So Jim knew I was going to the show because it's literally the bar is like right around the corner from my house. And I told him, I said, "Oh, I'm going." Jim's like, "You should get him on the show." I'm going, "Oh, fuck!" Like now I'm gonna have to go get in touch with this guy, and like so we found his. Oh no, I just Facebook messaged him like out of the blue. I was like, "Yeah, you don't know me, but I'm like, I'm gonna be at the show tonight. You want to do an interview?" I no later than like 20 minutes later, I get a message back, be like, "Sure." I'm like, "What?" So I go over to the club at 4:00 or whenever when they're loading in, and he's just walking around. There's nobody there. There's like 25, 30 people there. And I go up to his manager because I didn't want to introduce myself to him. I figured I should go through his manager, right? And he was around the merch booth, and I just like introduced myself, said, "Hey, talked to him this afternoon. We were going to do an interview after the show. Like, I'll be around." And he was like, "We don't know about no interview." So anyway, I just ran into Michelangelo at the bar having a drink with his guitar tech and was just introduced myself. And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure. I'll stick around." So then he didn't stick around. He took off after the show and there's a whole bunch of drama there. We're like, "What the hell happened?" Because he told me he was going to meet up with me in the back and he was like sitting there having a drink and then all of a sudden he was gone. I'm like, "What the hell?" So I was mad and I was like texting Jim the next day. I was like, "What the hell?" I just got like stiffed and whatever. And lo and behold, long story short, on Sunday, that was on a Friday. On Sunday, I got a call from not a call, but a Facebook message from him saying, "I'm so sorry. Like, I really meant to do it. Like, we're gonna do it. Let's do it next weekend at this time." And then we got like 2 hours out of him. Yeah, he was he was incredibly gracious with his time, and I think honestly, like something happened that night, and he had to take off. But it was weird because like, he didn't stop by and say like, "Hey, I'm leaving. Like, we'll have to connect later" or anything like that. It was just kind of a weird situation. But,
he was the nicest guy.
Yeah,
it can happen, man. Hey, John Petrucci, you just did an interview with Fluff on his channel just the other day. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, but he's also a Mesa artist, and I know Fluff has got connections over there. And
I think Mesa isn't Fluff a Mesa artist?
Maybe, possibly, probably.
Not A level, I don't think. But
but he did. Some stuff gets flowed to him for sure, though. Like he got the Badland. You guys get some stuff every once in a while. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, Badlander and some stuff.
Well, I mean, just muted myself while I was explaining that to everybody. Anyway,
he said Badlander and some stuff, and now you're trying to like bleep us out on this show. Like, stop it!
No, I didn't try to bleep you. I was trying to mute my channel to cough, and I muted your channel, and then I coughed, so all you hear is my cough. I'll go back and edit that post. So, everybody, if you know Robert Jackson from Robert's Gear Dungeon.
Robert's Guitar Dungeon.
That's it. Robert's Guitar Dungeon, which, if you don't remember, those of you who haven't been watching the show for a while, Robert does a channel. It's called Robert's Guitar Dungeon. And what's funny is the first time I saw it, I said, oh, I wonder what guitar store he's doing this in. He had to explain to me that's not a store. That's his house.
Yeah.
He has this. Is that upstairs or downstairs? Is that your?
It's upstairs.
It's upstairs.
The guitar room you're talking about is upstairs.
Yeah. So he's got this guitar room, and he's got. I don't want to explain too much stuff because I don't want to go into the security side.
Just go watch his videos. You'll see it.
Watch his videos. The wall looks like a store. I mean, he's got everything set up like you would. Of course, you've been in the MI business how long? Music industry. For those who don't know what MI is.
Upwards of 15 years now. So, I've seen a thing or two. And honestly, that was absolutely the inspiration for setting up that room. Full 4x8 sheets of slat wall on 2 walls, and hang the guitars from there, and set up the amps underneath those.
Yep.
The same way that you would see it at a lot of guitar shops that are out there, and that's. Like I said, that was absolutely the inspiration, and to this day, probably one of the things that I get the most, one of the questions I get the most is, where is your shop? And and I have to go and break people's heart and tell them,
It's on eBay.
You're watching. Yeah, you're watching it, and that's, you might see me put something up for sale on Facebook Marketplace every now and then, but that's pretty much the extent of it.
I got a Canon Rebel on Facebook Marketplace right now. If any of our show listeners wants to buy a Canon Rebel, I'll cut you a deal.
There you go.
I do have a I do have a Tascam Porta Studio 24 track.
Really?
On Marketplace right now. Yeah.
Oh, you had that thing for a while too. I remember you when you bought that.
I don't know, about 3 years ago, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, that's a good long while.
Hey, now, you have did you still have that Joyo up for sale, or is that gone?
I had 2 of them up for sale. I sold the Zombie. Zombie went.
And you still got which one?
I still got the Jackman.
Yeah.
So
the Jackman, that's supposed to be a JCM, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to talk.
JCM 800. Yep. No, it's there. So I mean, it's one of those things. I was like, I could really use more space with all the other amps that I've got in this house. I am never going to plug in these little, these little 20-watt monsters. They sound good. They sound really good, actually. It's not anything about having to do with how they sound. It's just I'm never going to use them when I'm, especially sitting right here. I've got this Laney that's that I like better, that has way more features and options on it, that is already plugged into my interface. All I got, it just doesn't make sense. So I've been listening to you guys for long enough that it's not making any sense.
It doesn't.
So and I am on a mission to buy the Les Paul Custom that has eluded me for 20 years now, and I'm determined I'm going to make that happen this year. So I'm trying to sell these things, put the money towards that, even though the money I would get out of those is a relatively small dent in the price tag of the guitar that I want.
Oh yeah, that thing's $4,600. I mean, I know what your price is. I know because I looked at it while I was working there, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to work here that long.
Right.
But I'm still coming to you when it comes to a good price. I'll tell you that right now.
Good. Thank you.
So those who don't know, Robert works for Guitar Center, but he's in the pro side of things. So
GC Pro.
Yeah, Guitar Center Pro.
I don't really talk about that on my channel very much because, Guitar Center's got. I love Guitar Center, I really do, but there's plenty of other people out there that don't, and I don't want people's bias for my employer to interfere with how they feel about my channel, and it has happened. It has happened in the past, but so that's kind of why I got away from mentioning.
Not to put a huge point on that, though, I'm sure that there's a little bit of Guitar Center probably also wouldn't necessarily want you out there talking about anything negative that's going on in the workplace either.
Yeah, well, of course they wouldn't. I
Right.
mean, I think that would be true for any employer. But I do have an inside track on a lot of things that people are hearing. Like the
Sure.
bankruptcy thing, and so I've got a little bit more information than what most people are gathering. And
Because you work at the corporate
it's
office too, right? I mean, that's like you're at the call center that's attached to corporate, right? I mean,
well, the corporate office is in California. I work for
oh,
the on paper now because of COVID. I've been working from home for almost a year now, I work for the call center here in Indianapolis. So, which is it's a corporate office, but it's not the corporate office. So,
okay. Oh, I didn't know that they
um,
had one in California. I thought the Indianapolis facility was like the big one that was responsible for all
no,
distribution and all that.
no headquarters are in California.
Doesn't surprise me.
Main, yeah, it's at LA area, Westlake Village. Um, main distributions in Kansas City, right in the middle of the country, which that's also by design. And then we got there's contact centers in Indianapolis, though there's nobody there anymore because we're all
Yeah,
working from
yeah.
home. There's another one in Salt Lake City, though there's nobody there because they're all working from home. And there's another one that handles like Woodwind and Brasswind and a couple of other those other brands out in Maryland, but I don't know what they're doing with that building either because I'm quite sure they're all working from home as well. And then of course almost 300 stores. And that's pretty much the entire Guitar Center infrastructure as I know it.
They need to fix that website. That's all I'm going to say. They need to fix their website.
Yeah, let's. I mean, I'm not gonna.
No, there's
Guitar
nothing.
Center, Guitar Center has its problems. We all know that.
It's a
yeah,
big company. I mean, that's basically it's what it boils down to. It's got the same problems that many big companies have.
I want to talk a little bit about not necessarily Guitar Center. I want to pick up in general. So I was watching, and this actually happened to me, and that's the reason that I'm bringing this up. And it didn't happen to me with them. So Casino Guitars was talking about how more places are going to be charging shipping, and it just so happened that now I did not buy any gear. I guess I can say I bought gear, but it was because our band needed a kick drum mic and some other stuff. So one guy said, "Hey, would you buy this?" And I'll pay back. I was like, "Okay." So I ordered like $300 worth of stuff at Sweetwater, which I don't have my money yet because we haven't had rehearsal until Tuesday. So I'm out $300. But anyway, so which is now money I'm just going to put aside because I'm already used to not having it. I get paid a couple of days, so screw it. Anyway, so the money, on my Sweetwater thing, it said shipping, and usually shipping and then minus the shipping. Usually it goes shipping whatever price, say $10, and then minus $10. And I was like, and then I looked at it and went, oh my God, they actually charged me shipping, and it wasn't big stuff. It was 2 mic stands, and a kick drum mic, and what was the other thing?
A $300 order?
And a little, a little receiver thing. And the only reason I didn't come to you is because Guitar Center didn't have this receiver thing. So I was like, oh, screw it. I'll just do everything at one place. But anyway, I was like, wow, they charged me $225, and it wasn't really a big order. I just got surprised.
I'd call and ask the question because their website still says free shipping.
Yeah.
So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard any directives like that coming down for us. Near as I can tell, about the only things that we still charge shipping on are going to be like uber small orders that are going to wind up in the mail. Like going in USPS anyway. Like if you call an order 1 set of strings, they're probably going to charge you $5 for shipping. As most places do. So that's still on there. And then the big heavy items, if you order a case of or something that they got to ship freight, they're probably going to charge you freight for that. But that's beyond that, I haven't noticed any any changes in our shipping costs.
Okay.
Anything like that at all, and haven't heard anything either. So,
well, I was just curious. I do know that I've seen it across the board. I mean, prices are going up on gear across the board, and
that is true.
Yeah, and I know that part of it is because it's difficult to get parts for the companies that are doing it. Also, that it's difficult to source your what's the word I want here? Like they're going into where they can charge more. I mean, let's face it. I think most companies have been waiting for an opportunity to get little price hikes. I mean, when every few dollars counts. I mean, when you're selling all this gear, every few dollar counts. You know, so the other thing I noticed that Casino had talked about that I did notice because I went to Sweetwater afterwards and they were right there, is that there's not a lot of Gibsons on the market.
There's still a big shortage. In fact, I got word, and I won't say what company told me this, but they're having a tube shortage, and that's been a major concern for them. I also heard rumors and I say rumors because I didn't look into it too deeply, but apparently one of the chip manufacturers for some of the op amps that are using a lot of overdrive pedals burned down. So the facility, the building where they actually made that stuff is no longer viable right now. So there's some weird stuff going on in the industry. I mean,
that happened in November. I think that was, and you're right, that was a big factory that literally burnt to the ground. There was
Oh wow.
a lot
Yeah.
of manufacturers that got the parts in that facility, and that's been a big bottleneck. Behringer, if I'm sure you guys are probably aware, they ended their relationship with their previous U.S. distributor, and now they're working on. I think they're working on setting up their own U.S. distribution, and or finding somebody else. I think they're trying to set up distribution, and in the meantime, of course, we all know, they got they got the deal done with Sweetwater, um, but Yuli's, for everybody else, us included, Yuli's still being Yuli, and Yuli Behringer kind of has a reputation for being kind of an asshole when it comes to negotiating. So, that's what I understand anyway.
Well, I mean, what people don't seem to understand about it, Behringer, and not to protect Yuli Behringer or anything like that. What people don't understand about Behringer is they have like a corner on the market in a way that people don't realize. They make components that other manufacturers buy to use in their products. So a lot of stuff. They're making the really popular Bucket Brigade chip that everybody's using right now. I know they've got some reverb on a chips products that are real popular, and for like boutique builders who are buying this stuff, and now they're sitting there going, we don't know what's going to happen because now Behringer's like distribution is all up in the air, and in fact, I don't know what that deal is going to end up looking like, but I honestly don't see things changing all that much except for the price structure on the inside. But for the consumer, it's probably going to stay largely the same at the end of the day. He's just trying to squeeze and get as much money as he can at this point.
Of course he is. Of course he. And I don't blame him. I get it. But yeah, it's yeah, it'll all iron out eventually. It always does. But in the meantime, it's not only is that affecting Behringer products, that's also affecting Midas and TC Electronic. Uh, those are the big ones. So
Oh yeah, that's right.
we're
TC's part of it, or Behringer's part of TC, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, just for the last year or so, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 years, I think, 2-3 years.
It's been 3 years at least.
It's been longer than that.
Oh no, you're right. It is. It has. I'm thinking about when those pedals launched, where they rebranded the Behringer plastic box stuff.
Yep.
They owned them before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they the what I call the smorgasbord series of pedals that you're thinking of. I think those launched in 2018.
Yeah, the Blood Moon and those
and
were before that. I think it might have been
2018,
but I think it was 2017 because I remember 60 Cycle Hum getting them all and blowing them out or something.
But those were not. They didn't mark the change. Like it had already started well before that. I think it was about 3 years before that. Yeah.
And the only reason I remember it was quite a while ago is because my Guitar Center hadn't opened its lesson studios up yet. And so I bought a couple of those pedals from when they had. That's where the pedals were when you first came in, was at that. Right. And now I don't even remember what Guitar Center looked like before. But it's kind of weird because I'm like, I walk in there and I'm like, oh, this has always been there. No, this used to be where all the pedals were. and strings and shit. So that's all been
My old
shoved into it. That was a tough.
Yeah, my old stores looked completely different from what it did when I was there because they installed the lessons
Yeah.
stuff. So
Can we talk?
also
Can we talk
wiped
about
out that department. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So no, it's me. I was cutting you off. Can we talk about the elephant in the room, the 10-ton elephant with Gibson and the Dave Mustain
Oh yeah, we do
promo
need to
thing?
talk about that. I know. Yesterday, Robert, I was talking to you about that because, well, I was chatting because you were on the live stream yesterday, and every time somebody joined the live stream, I kid you not, David. Every time somebody joined the live stream, have we talked about the Dave Mustaine Gibson yet? Have we talked about the Dave?
What Dave Mustaine Gibson? Nobody's seen it yet. I mean, other than
Right.
select people of a group of people who've signed NDAs. I mean,
Right.
Well, somebody said on my live show yesterday. Somebody commented in the chat that they saw something. I don't. It wasn't the same teaser trailer that I saw, but they saw something that said that they were going to do signature Dave Mustaine signature guitars in all three brands: Gibson, Epiphone, and Kramer. Now, I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
That's just
I think that's
Kramer.
that's a
So,
guess. That's a guess.
yeah,
I mean, I can understand the Kramer thing, but it's still a guess.
I can guess it's gonna be a V.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's going to be a V. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
going to
Big
be a rockin' V.
surprise! Big
Mhm.
surprise. Now, the crazy thing will be is if it's like an offset V or something, which would be kind of up his alley. But
That's Kramer would be the what do they call that? Not the, it's
yeah, I
can't
forgot they
remember
made that thing. You're right. Yeah.
well, they had two of them. They had the V and they had the Explorer model back in the 80s, and both of them started with a V. And the name of both of them escapes me here at the moment. I want to say Vortex, but I know that's not right.
No.
Yeah, it's something like that. Well,
I'll think I'll look it up or something, but
here's the dumb part, right? So, and maybe it's not dumb, but like at least for me, the way I'm looking at this whole thing, when the promo dropped the other day, and it ended up in our group, I'd already seen it at that point, but I saw the promo and I'm like, this was really expensive. Like this promo just made the cost of the guitar go up like $200. Like
I don't know.
I mean,
yeah,
Maybe over the whole set of them, 25 cents. But still, the video was to me. I thought the video was good because when the guy pulls the sword out and it says "Rust in Peace," I thought that was really good. You knew who it was. You knew who it was the second that you saw that guy's head.
Because they're playing the intro to Symphony of Destruction.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was,
and you're right. And they also had the head of Rattlehead, who's the Megadeth
their mascot, right?
Yeah.
So
He's the Eddie of Megadeth.
Megadeth, yeah, exactly. That's exactly who he is. But you're right for 15, 20 seconds, maybe 30. I agree. It was that teaser was very, very well produced.
Oh.
Well, it was, but it was also like a car commercial where like you guys have seen the Matthew McConaughey Lincoln commercials where he's like drinking Chardonnay and shit, and then like at the end of the commercial they show him driving a Lincoln. You're like, that was a car commercial.
Right.
That's what I felt like for this. Is like, this is a guitar promo. Like, what the hell? I thought I was watching Terminator. Like, what?
Well, I think I knew what it was going into it. I think.
No, I did too. But I mean, it just seemed to me like if you weren't aware, this was going to be one of those weird promotional deals.
Well, what seemed odd to me was that they, all of a sudden they launched this thing because they announced back in, I don't know, I mean, it was several months back that they first announced that Dave Mustaine had left Dean and was signing an endorsement deal with Gibson. So I mean, it's not like this was news.
Well, the him signing the endorsement deal with Gibson was kind of like the extra rumor part of that whole story. So the only thing that was officially known was he left Dean, and then it was like everybody was like, we know where he's going. And even Gibson kept kind of dropping hints like we're signing big artists.
It was Trogley, believe it or not, it was Trogley that figured a bunch of this stuff out. That guy, when it comes to Gibson, that guy is just like a hound. He's already, I mean, he was the guy that went, he was the one that broke the news about the 70s.
The 70s Les
guitar
Pauls.
They're going to do the Les Paul special, or not specials.
Deluxe,
yeah. That they're going to do because he's on the internet all the time. Okay, I'm going to buy Gibson.
Well, if
Then
that
he's
was
like,
your job, you'd know it well too.
reverb. Yeah, yeah, I know. That's what he does. I mean, can you imagine a guy who's got enough money? You live not too far from him. I can't imagine a guy in buttfuck Ohio where he lives. He lives right on the Indiana border, close to the Indiana border, because he says he's like 40 minutes from Fort Wayne, or maybe an hour and a half from
Yeah,
Fort Wayne,
because he drives to
because he
Sweetwater
drives
to
there
buy
to
the
Sweetwater
rare shit.
sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and he goes on, he's one of those people that goes on Gibson every week and buys from, they have a shop. I didn't even know about this till Trogley told me about it. They have this shop where you could buy stuff that only employees have access to, and Gibson will sell it. This was a prototype we did and nobody wanted it. So can you imagine when those prototype, because they will sell some of those prototypes for these V's and stuff on that. That's where those go, on that shop. And you got to be there the minute it opens up. It's like midnight on Wednesday morning or Tuesday night, however you want to look at it.
Right.
And they don't always do it the same day. But I can imagine if you got an insider, you could just sit there and go, okay, I'm going to get this. Because they had teased one. But anyway, like I said, he was on there and he was like going through reverb and he's like, wait a minute, that looks like a 2015, but it's not a 2015. And that says it's a deluxe, but they didn't do this deluxe and it's a gold top. And then he went, he called the store that accidentally leaked it. And he said, hey, did you guys put this up there? And was that an accident? They said, yeah, that was an accident. That was not supposed to go up. But he didn't throw the store's name under the bus. But he was like, yeah, they're doing a deluxe, and this is what it's going to look like. And here are because he had the pictures. He'd already done all the stuff. The damage was done. That's the thing about the internet. That shit was just.
Yeah, I've not watched that guy's channel. I know a little bit about it and what he does, but I can't say that I'm a sit down every time he puts up a video and follow. I don't follow.
Oh, I
him,
don't.
is what I'm saying.
No,
on
I can't.
pandemic.
People love that guy.
Yeah.
On pandemic, because I get up in the morning and I start work at like 7:00. I have and I work 12-hour days some days. And I literally will sit here like for the first hour of the day while I'm reading email, and I'll have a video going, and like his stuff always ends up in my feed now. And now I like look for it. It's got to the point where I'm like, well, I wonder what he bought yesterday. Like
That's the only time I don't watch his channel, and I feel sorry. I guess I don't know if I should feel bad or it doesn't really matter. But the only time I don't watch his channel is when he does Fender stuff. Him talking about Fender is like me talking about trucks. I mean, I got no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, it looks like the word Mac is on the front, and it's really big. That's got a grill. Oh, there's some tires on it. That's him with a Fender. It's like, yeah, and I'm sitting there, and I'm not even I do not know Fenders that well. I'll be honest with you. That's the one guitar you could fake. You could say to me, yeah, Jim, it's a real Fender. I'd go, oh, okay. And I think. Who was it? Kinnaman? Anyway, one of these YouTube channels went in and did a thing in a music go round where he talked about how he could spot a fake Fender, and I was like, he was saying all this stuff. I go, I don't see it. I was like, I don't even see it. I just don't care. I guess because to me, oh, you just faked a Telecaster. How hard can that be? Seriously. How hard can it be to fake a Telecaster? A Telecaster. Oh, yeah. I took a cutting board and I routed it out and I put some electronics in it, and then I
listen to this horse crap right here.
I screwed 4 screws into the back, and I mean, you know what every Fender reminds me of. Did you ever see I Can't Get No Satisfaction by oh, there's Zoe. Hi, Zoe.
She decided to come up. So.
I didn't know we had an extra guest.
That's it. Look at that. She's got a non-speaking role though. So those of you not that's Robert's very beautiful dog.
Yep. She's my best friend.
Yep.
She's a rescue, and She is the best dog that I've ever had. She rarely, did well. Every time that I'm on my live stream, you guys can hear her barking at the mailman or whatever it is that's going. She does bark at that stuff, but beyond that, in the house, she rarely barks.
Yeah.
Most of the time, she is just like she is right now, and she, I can tell by her breath she just ate her dinner.
Yeah.
Uh,
She's so cute.
Yep. She off come up and say hi to me after that, and and before she goes back down to sit on the couch with her mama.
Last night,
So she's
Drogon, we were watching The Jerk with Steve Martin, and
mhm.
every time Shithead would show up on the Jerk, Drogon would jump up and go to the TV screen and bark at the at the dog. For those who don't know, Shithead is the name of the dog in The Jerk.
it's wonderful.
But yeah, he's a cute dog.
Uh,
He's also a rescue, by the way. He was also a rescue.
Yep. She's a pretty special puppy. So, but what I was gonna say, Jim, I bet you would have a much easier time spotting a fake vendor than you might think. Because
Yeah.
because the reason why I say that is because when you're especially when you're working at a busy guitar center like you were.
Yeah.
I mean, this. I mean, used fenders, fender new and used. I mean, you guys rifle through them, and
Oh, yeah.
a ton of them pass through your hands. You can't help but notice when something's off. When you see when one that isn't quite right.
Oh
passes
yeah.
through
Oh
your
yeah.
hands. So,
It was.
I think you would. I think you'd probably, if something were a little off of something, you notice.
Yeah.
So,
I would say because fenders are super basic, when they're done wrong, like they didn't come out of the factory that way, they're super easy to spot. Like they're totally the opposite. Because I've seen Gibsons that like I couldn't have told in person, but
mhm.
I have definitely seen fenders that like are super obvious. It's like they got the body wrong. Like what the hell are they thinking?
Right. Right. I also found one time I did get got when I was buying in, and I found out later that the guy that sold this to us, was always selling everything he ever tried to sell us. There was something shady with. As soon as I saw him walk in the door with gear in his hand, it got to the point. As soon as I saw him walk through the door with gear in his hand, I knew I had to. I had to really do my homework on this before I made any offers. But there was one time in particular, he had sold me I had bought in an old, I think it was a late 80s Japanese Strat.
Right.
And put her down, she's ready to be back on all fours.
Yeah.
And I noticed it was definitely lightweight. It was a little bit lighter than I expected it to be, but beyond that everything else looked okay on it. And boss came in and he spotted it immediately. As soon as he pulled it off, he saw how light it was, and he took a closer look and popped the neck off. Turned out it was a Japanese fender neck bolted onto a Squire bullet body.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, fortunately we were able to get our money back out of it. We didn't make it, but break even. And
Yeah.
I learned a lesson. There is a difference in because the bullet bodies are thinner.
Yeah.
Until that instance had happened, but after that, I paid a lot closer attention to what I was buying.
I mean,
So,
yeah, it's not always a given, but usually, like if there's 2-string trees and it says an American, no.
mhm.
Or like you
That's
were
a good
saying,
one.
the necks usually don't. I don't care how well they say the player series is. I mean, I'm not knocking the player series. Take my word for it. I'm not doing that. I'm not knocking the Squires. I'm just saying that anybody who says that a Squire or a player sound or feels as good as one of the American Strats hasn't played enough of them to know how the neck feels. I'm not saying they're not
Mhm.
good. I'm just saying they feel totally different.
Yeah, I mean
As
you could
far as
prefer
the
one to the other too.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I definitely preferred the players to the pro. But that was me. I mean, it was
I
just my preference.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I prefer the shape and the construction of the player to the pro. You know what I don't like about the player neck? To me it feels sticky. That's But you
Well,
can undo that. That's an easy thing to take care of.
but
Not that
but
big
the
a
other
deal.
my takeaway for it was the electronics were crap in the player compared to the Pro, but I didn't like the electronics in either one, so it didn't make any difference.
I would probably just buy a Warmoth neck anyway. Be done.
Well, so here's the thing that I've always looked at to Valve Fender, because I play them. Like, I've played Fender bodies for a long time. You get used to the comfort contours and the arm contour specifically. I've never seen like a fake where the arm contour is perfect.
Yeah.
And because it's either not round enough or it's too round. And then the other thing is, like, on Telecasters, if you look at the edge, the bevel on the edge on a lot of the cheapy imports is a lot sharper than it is on like a real Fender, where it's a little bit more curved. And actually, the old Fenders apparently don't have that. They're not as rounded, but they're not sharp either. So you just got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. If you get around them enough, you'll know. I mean, it's not rocket science.
And the plates are usually a giveaway, and then the silk screen, you could tell. I mean, if you can't tell the difference between a silk screen and a sticker,
yeah.
I mean, that's.
Well, not all of them. So that's
they're not all silk
contention.
I know,
right? And then if you've got an old one, oh yeah, this is like this is from the early '90s, and it's got a sticker on it, and you're like,
yeah,
it's not faded. Like, if that sticker hasn't started to fade, there's something wrong.
Yeah. It's always little things. It's always little things. Honestly, I think now, Robert, you must see this about as much as I do. I still see people trying to pass off fakes on like Facebook Marketplace, yeah, Facebook Marketplace, or they're trying to pass them off on different places like that. I mean,
yeah, I mean, there's various places online that that you see that, and and it's. I think a lot of times it's not necessarily somebody trying to pass it off. It's somebody else that already been had, and actually does believe that it's whatever it is in question is authentic. I think that's really more the case than than anything. But it's whenever that happens, it never lasts long, especially if it's posted on a place like Marketplace or or Craigslist or Reverb. I mean, it's only gonna be a matter of time before somebody gets a hold of it and posts that link on Facebook and says, "Hey, everybody, watch out for this because this is not legit, and here's why."
Yeah.
So, I mean, we see it happen all the time. I don't know.
There's a guy.
I see more posts in Facebook groups about people posting fake gear, or plagiarized gear anywhere that I do. I see it more there than anywhere. So, say what you want about Facebook guitar community, and there's plenty to be said about it, but people don't to tell people when they see something fishy going on somewhere else.
It may be really toxic, but people do look out for one another, even though we hate each other.
They do. There's a guy locally. He's got a guitar. He says it's a PRS, and it literally looks like the Dove soap. It's got like those birds, the Dove soap bird. He's got the Dove soap birds.
Oh, I'm down. I'm down. Send it my way. That's
I've shown it on the show. Hold on, I'll find it while we're talking.
I think I saw that actually.
I laughed so hard. I thought, is this guy serious?
I mean, honestly, Dove soap bird sounds really fun to me. Like, that would be a kind of an ironic, like, fake guitar to pull out, especially if it was like a John Mayer. Right. I think there's a little bit of extra irony there.
Oh my God. So what do you think, Robert, as far as and let's not go too far down the NAMM rabbit hole, but what do you think about the NAMM announcement that, oh goody, there's another color of John Mayer guitar, and it sold in like 14 seconds or some ridiculous thing like that. It was pretty much sold out before anybody could post it.
Well, I mean, that's in the case of that particular one. I mean, if it's, you guys know this as well as I do. If it's got John Mayer's name on it, it's going to sell, and price tag doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. Plus, those finishes are stunning, and they're like very unique. I mean, they were going to go fast regardless.
Right. Why do you think so many people are all interested in that Dave Mustaine, the new Dave Mustaine
You,
signature Gibson that they're teasing. And
yeah, you're
by
not
the
even
way,
going to get to touch it for a year because they're going to come out and they're going to be out the door right away because
yeah,
the demand
I
for
mean,
it's going to be real high.
supply and demand. You got to get in line now. But that's another thing is not only are they going to do a signature model, that they're going to do it in the Gibson line. Because, and I talked about this on my live stream yesterday, there was, what I've noticed Gibson has done over the last couple of years is they're not doing quite so many signature models in the Gibson line, unless it's Slash. They're not really doing too much signature stuff in the Gibson line because most of their signature artists now, like Matt Heafy, people like that, that's Matt Heafy and what's her name, Lizzie Hale, people like
Yep.
that. They have a much, much, much younger audience, and their audience, most most of their audience, do not have $3,000 to buy on a Matt Heafy signature guitar. Dave Mustaine, on the other hand, has plenty of people that have
Are right
plenty
in
of
that
people
age
that'll
group.
buy. Yeah, they can afford it. So and he's also got that younger audience too, which is why they'll still make the Epiphone, I think. But you know,
I
just
think,
I don't know
honestly,
why. Go
out
ahead.
of the list of people that Gibson has on their artist roster right now, I think Dave Mustaine is probably the one with the most universal appeal.
Mhm.
And that's only because like he's got a 35-year, 40-year career of being one of the premier metal guitar players. As
Mhm.
much as I love Joe Bonamassa, we called him Boner Massa on the show a lot, but as much as I love Joe Bonamassa, um, and even Slash and those guys, like Slash may be the only other A-lister they have, and like you said, they're still doing signature models for him. I
Mhm.
could see Dave Mustaine kind of getting a similar treatment over some of the other people, like you said, like Lizzie Hale and James Gerard Nichols and those kind of
Right.
guys. So
Yeah. Well, they've they're definitely beefing up their A-lister roster. I mean, they got Jerry Cantrell now too. I feel he's going to get, for the
yeah,
same reason. So
we had a long conversation about why him as a brand ambassador was kind of funny to us, but yeah,
well,
Yeah.
I mean, and I admit I'm a little biased because he's actually I love Jerry Cantrell.
yeah, he's one of my favorite
He's,
guitar players actually.
he's one of mine too, and it's not. I mean, I love Alice, but there's honestly the band itself. There's so many other bands that if I were to list my favorite bands, they wouldn't be first. They would, they might make, I don't know if they make the top 10, to be honest with you, but, I think Jerry Cantrell is absolutely brilliant guitar player and songwriter, and everything that he has recorded for that band has been, the solo to Wood, for example, was, it is not a shredding solo at all. It is, anybody that's been playing guitar for 6 months can probably learn to play it in, inside of
It's
a
just
day.
well thought out. I mean, that's
Exactly.
basically what it boils down to.
Yeah.
But we were
Exactly.
the reason why we were laughing about those is because he's been a dyed in the wool GNL guy for a really long time, and he always
Yeah.
talks about the Rampage and stuff as being like his. I guess he's got 2 or 3 of them from the '80s that are
Yeah.
like on.
I
One of
was
them,
surprised to see him jump ship too.
yeah. Well, no, he didn't jump ship. That's the thing. He still has the signature model over there, and he
Really?
still has to deal with them. But Gibson has allowed him to flow guitars from them as well. So he's getting his
Hmm.
Silverburst Les Pauls and stuff. At least that's what I've been told. And maybe they're just running out signature models until they're done, and they're going to take them off the website. But and for a company like GNL, that might take a really long time. But he even said in his Gibson interview is like, I'm still playing this guitar. This is the only guitar I have that's on every single record, virtually every single song. And he couldn't think of anything he hadn't used it on, which is kind of interesting. That like, oh well, I went over to Gibson to be an artist for them, but I like more power to people that can get those kind of deals and can go into those situations. I know people were beating up Josh Smith for going over to Ibanez because it was kind of like he had this relationship with this builder and all this different stuff, and they were kind of it was just people just being awful people, right? And he basically said in the live stream where he announced the guitar, he basically said like, "Look, guys, I have this opportunity, and I'm never going to get this again. So yes, I'm going to do it. Like shut up. Go away.
Yeah.
In a very nice way.
Sure.
So has there been a lot of demand for those? Are you guys? I mean, have you guys had like calls asking for pre-orders on that or anything yet?
Not yet, but I'm sure I will.
I'm sure that's going to be a
So,
popular one too, but I don't think it'll be Dave Mustain
yeah,
big.
but Jim, back to your original question that I apparently derailed there momentarily, so my apologies. With all the with the lack of with the lack of a NAMM show this year, honestly, I would expect it to be smaller next year and maybe even the next couple of years because I think a lot of companies, PRS for example, Ivan has. Schecter, I think, had a pretty big announcement of their 2021 launch. Companies like that that are known for having these huge, great, big, gigantic NAMM show booths. Are still generating the same buzz without. That is, I mean, we all know. NAMM show, that is a huge part of all these companies' marketing budgets every single year. I mean, and it's not just a matter of a couple of plane tickets and and labor hours. I mean, they got to spend a lot of money getting all those booths and everything that they use to set up a booth. It is a big expense to get all that stuff shipped out there. Even if the companies are already in LA, it's still a lot of expenses getting all that stuff there. Plus the gear they got to ship. And there's a lot of those the Marshall booth is notorious. They've got a ton of amps in that booth, right?
Just to put a point on that, I mean, I work for the association world, and so I see what some of the costs are associated with, putting on a conference, which is just purely educational in nature. And to give people an idea, you can actually go look. ASCE publishes numbers on, what a typical association does for whatever, and it's basically 400,000 per 1,000 people who walk through the door. For the company that actually puts it on. And so if you can imagine what the vendors are spending, because they have to recoup that from vendor booths and all that kind of stuff in order to make it an association, because associations aren't supposed to make money. So it's a whole, like, that whole thing is probably $20-30 million to put on. I mean, it's crazy amounts of money.
Yeah. Now, what I do think is going to happen over time, within probably 3 years, give or take, once we start having NAMM shows again, within about 3 years, there's going to be people that are, after enough companies have sat out for a year or two, then people are going to start complaining, oh, Schecter wasn't there. I really wanted to see what Schecter was announcing. Ivan wasn't there. Gibson, because remember what happened a couple years ago when Gibson decided to skip it all together and went to CES, which I think was stupid of them, but but that's what they did anyway. And just the fact that they opted not to go to NAMM at all that year, the guitar community lost their minds.
I don't know. I could look at it two ways. So when I grew up on a dairy farm, and my father or my stepfather, every year he would go to Syracuse, New York area, and every year they had this big display. It was a similar thing. So International Harvester and John Deere and all these other companies would come out, and they would have everything. I mean, and it was just like NAMM in that you would have everything from, I mean, it is the weirdest stuff I'm going to mention here, but everything from manure spreaders to bull sperm. I mean, you had people selling everything there, right? And if you were a big farm, we were a big farm. We produced a lot of milk. You got to go. You were like the famous guitar player that gets to go to NAMM, And all it meant for me was I had to do more work because my stepfather wasn't home, and so he took my mother like it was a big vacation for them. It was like, right. I think that's what they did on their honeymoon, believe it or not. But anyway, I was like 12 or 13 when I got married. So, but I saw it shift. I'm having a soda delivered. Thank you. And
nice.
Yeah, brand new one. Anyway, they they had this, this thing that they did every year. It was very every company, every I shouldn't say company, every type of thing that I can think of that goes into sales marketing has a NAM. They all have
Sure.
a NAM. CES is a NAM, right? I mean, NAM is a NAM.
Yeah.
Like I said,
CES is huge.
and CES is gigantic. And I don't know if you've been to NAM, but you've at least heard from people who have been to NAM. The guitar part is not the biggest part of NAM.
No.
We
it's
think
not.
it is, but it's not.
Yeah, well, and that's because that's what we have an interest in. And, as much as I am not complaining about my YouTube feed not being flooded with NAM videos this year, normally it is flooded with NAM videos this year. And, because I follow, I don't follow the drum channels or the bass channels, there's,
Right.
I'll check out recording channels every now and then because I do have a bit of some interest in more about. I mean, I have an interest in learning more about that stuff, but that's not my main gig, So, I don't see that stuff. I see. I'm primarily exposed to the guitar channel, partially because that's what I am, and partially because that's what I have an interest in. I've never been, and I've never been because that's that's an expensive trip for me as well. Even though I could probably get a pass, get a 4-day pass for free, but hotel costs that week, not to mention plane tickets on that's an expensive trip for me. And the other thing that really that concerns me more is you guys may laugh at me for this, but I'm actually scared because I've received so many death threats over the Fuzz Factory video and and a couple of others that
That's
stuff like that.
embarrassing for our community. I mean, honestly, that's the toxicity of dealing with a class of people that is like musicians in general. I'm gonna get on my philosophical soapbox because that really frustrates me to hear that. Musicians in general, we're opinionated. Like, I don't know if anybody's realized this, but like, I have seen so many over radical guitar people. Like, I mean, real like political radical, but also just extremist kind of stuff. And like somehow what we say matters. You know what I mean? And it's just like to hear people threatening death because you made a video about the Fuzz Factory.
And,
hey, listen,
and you
guys,
didn't like it.
I don't like the Fuzz Factory that much either, and I owned one for quite a long time. So,
yeah, well, it's between that video and when Zvex themselves commented on that video.
Yeah, well,
now
everybody jump off. He can go jump off a bridge. That guy was a jerk to me.
It doesn't bother me, but now everybody sees that comment on it. They see what he says, and oh, you just got owned by Zvex, and this, it's
not really.
No, you didn't.
I mean, honestly, I think if anything, the guy ought to be thanking me because I'm quite sure I've sold a lot.
I was going to say, I bet you've sold a lot of Fuzz Factories.
Well, you know what? What's funny about him is like I had a run in with him too. We've talked about it in the show.
Yeah,
like he and I don't get along. I won't buy anything Chase Bliss. Chase Bliss is fine. I won't buy anything Zvex. In fact, somebody I know was looking to buy a Super Hard On a while ago, and I was like, really? Not because of him, but
that's
because
not a Steely Dan.
So it's a boost pedal, but the funny thing is he actually tapes an extra transistor to the inside of the boost pedal because the transistor blows in them frequently.
I believe that.
Yeah, they're that unreliable. It's sort of known. I mean, if you like the sound, you like the sound. But I honestly wouldn't buy one myself. That just sounds like asking for trouble.
What's the name of the pedal again?
The Super Hard On.
Okay, so is it like a 2-finger thing, or is it
how many? It's a finger size enclosure. How many pedals exist?
I'm sorry, but I just have to laugh at that name.
How many pedals in this world could double for like actor credits in a porn?
I know, right?
Like we got the Big Muff Pie.
Yeah.
We got. I mean, I could say this on the show. We're adult friendly. The Super Hard On.
Right. But what was that one?
Big John's Hairy
Big
Balls.
John's, yep, Big John's and Hairy Balls. Yeah, yeah. What's the one that everybody went to freaking? They just. What was that one from Steel Panther that everybody was like, oh my god?
Oh, the Pussy Melter.
Oh yeah, the Pussy Melter.
Well, there were 3 of them. There was that one. There was the
Oh, there's other ones now. Yeah, the Boom Boomerang and
then the
I mean, I'm not. You know, if that's your thing, sure. I woun't want that stuff on my board. But that's because I don't want to answer the questions. If I would have done that, I'd put tape over it just so people wouldn't ask.
No,
I demoed 2 of them on my channel about, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago. You know, because a buddy of mine owned. So he lived in Minnesota at the time. Now he's in Iowa. But you know, he mailed them down to me. You know, doesn't have at them. So so I did a demo of a couple of them on my channel. They're okay. You know,
all right,
they're not bad sounding pedals at all. But you know, it's not the best sounding distortion and delay.
Punchline to this joke. So you get all these pedals together, right? You put a board. You call it the porn board, and then you plug it in. You plug it in to your fucking fucker.
Yeah, that's the amp. That's the amp.
If you remember that amp.
Yep, the fucking fucker.
The Metasonics amp, but it had 32 tubes in it. That none of them are audio tubes. Yeah.
You gotta wonder if speaking of childish amp names, you gotta wonder if Dave Friedman, sits around and goes, gee, what am I gonna call this one this week?
Dave
Friedman I know the
has
Harry Carey.
Nothing on Metasonics. Nothing.
Yeah,
Go look at some of the Metasonics effect units and look at the knobs. When you see some people's heads up their asses and sex acts on the knobs, that's when you realize this guy's on another level. I don't know what level that is, if it's above or below me, but he's on another one, that's for sure.
Hey, you know what?
I think I'm with Jim. I think it's the dirty name amp models thing. I think has kind of run its course. I think
it has definitely run its course. We're not disagreeing on that.
No, none of us are disagreeing on that.
I think it's time to give these $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000 amplifiers some adult names,
some mature names.
Yeah.
So that when people order them from you, they don't feel like, oh well, can I get the BD?
I can't believe,
when they take them and play them in church, they don't have to, and somebody asks them what they're playing, they don't offend them. Yeah,
I know. It's funny because I don't always watch this show, but the other day Rhett Schill was talking about being fired.
Rhett
Schill. Anyway, he was talking about being fired from a gig because he was fired from a church gig, and I had to laugh. He was actually pretty candid about this. He got fired from a church gig because he went out for a drink. His one weekly drink, he went out for a drink and he got a picture of his drink, and he had a little shot of whiskey or a double.
I didn't know
whiskey.
temperance was still a thing in churches.
I know, and the church fired him. And they said, well, public drinking is against our policy, and it's in the thing you signed. And he was looking through his stuff. He's like, no, it's not. But I just thought, the only reason I find that I bring that up is because we're talking about that. And I remember when I first brought my SG to the church.
Did they do the devil horns thing?
Yeah, the devil horns.
Oh my God!
And it wasn't this. It was my
over that shit. What?
Wow.
Yeah.
You can play a Strat, but don't bring that SG because it looks like devil horns. Even though it's offset.
Wow.
Oh my God. What is wrong?
Well, we live in a society of all kinds of things. I mean, I don't want to get into, all that, but I just find it funny.
Jim, you're a Satanist. Look behind you.
I know. Look at me. It's right there. I mean, if I put my head just right, look. And there's my right there on the tip of my finger. That's Angus Young.
What would they say if you brought in? What would they say if you brought in a Tony Iommi model?
It has a little set of devil horns on it. Oh, you can't see it. I've got it cropped, but I've got a Angus Young up there. It's got a little set of devil horns on him too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you bring in the Tony Iommi model, it'll have crosses for inlays.
I'm getting another one. They just released the Highway to Hell one, and I'm releasing.
That one may have upside down crosses, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No, they're right side up on the Tony Iommi.
Are they?
He's left-handed.
Oh, that's right. Well, if I played it, would be wrong. They'd be all upside
Right.
down.
Right. So don't do that. Get the right-handed model.
You know what's funny? So Gibson put together. Speaking of that one, was a few months ago. Gibson put out a special edition of the, what do they call it? The monkey? Was it called the monkey? It has a monkey sticker on it.
Yeah, it's the. I know what I don't know what they call it, but it's
not the bad monkey, but it's a monkey.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's a super well-known SG that I'd never seen it before.
Yeah, it was so well known I'd never heard of it. But anyway, people spent $10,000 or whatever on it. But what's funny is they put out a left-handed model, they put out a right-handed model. Guess which one they sold more of?
The left-handed.
No, the right-handed model. You would think it'd be a collector thing, and you just buy it. But no.
Yeah, but there was another guitar that they did that with where they actually did sell more left-handed models than the rights, and I think it was the Hendrix, SG for the Dick Cavett show performance, which is so hilarious. Oh, let's put out this historic model.
Yeah,
but it was only be
on
of
TV
like
once.
The one time he ever played it, and
that guitar was interesting. I remember one came into the store one time when I was there. It was a regular guy. This guy sold us all kinds of really, really high end platinum level stuff like this, with very, very regular. And one time he brought in this Hendrix, this Hendrix Flying V. And usually when I had stuff come in like this that that I wasn't quite sure what to do with, because there's not that many of those out there. There wasn't.
Yeah,
on eBay. Nothing out there to go off of, So there's a guy that works. He's the platinum manager of Hollywood. His name's Alan Clark, and Alan is that guy's an encyclopedia for stuff. He's been dealing in the high end platinum gear, guitar gear especially, for going on 3 decades now, I think. So I called Alan and ran it by him, and so what's your take on this? I know you're gonna about it. He's like, yeah, they came out in, what was it, 2007 or something, whatever year it was. And he's like, here's the thing: when they came out, nobody cared. He's like, guitar players didn't care. You had the Gibson collector guys that snatched up all the lefties when they first, when they were first released, and but guitar players themselves weren't all that interested. It was an overpriced Flying V with a bunch of flowery shit on it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have one. Jimmy's back there in the background, but the dumb part is the SG one. Like, Trogley got one of those in, and he showed video of it, and they aged it. And I'm like, the one that Jimmy played was not aged, and then on top of that, they aged it very poorly. If you look at how they did the checking, it was so deep you could see the wood underneath. It was like, this came out of the custom shop.
Yeah,
I was like, that's pathetic.
I think when you look at that stuff, you go, "Are you serious?" First of all right, I'm not a huge fan of the aging process, but I get it on some of the stuff. I really do. But when you're getting a signature model of something that somebody had, let's say it was Page's 59 Les Paul. All right? Say it's Page's 59 Les Paul. That guitar wasn't that old when it was famous. It was like 7 or 10. I mean,
let's age it now.
Well,
let's make it look like it does now.
What's that?
At that time, it was just a Les Paul.
Yeah, right. It was just a 59 Les Paul, which wasn't that old. It would be like
they weren't even talking about it as a 59.
It wasn't even a 59, and it was a Les Paul. Yeah, he's had that guitar for a few years now.
Yeah, it was like just a burst.
And it was a burst that he got from Joe Walsh or somebody.
No, it was they had Cherry Sunburst Les Paul. He's been playing that for a few years now. That's what people said back then.
Yeah,
they didn't have it. It wasn't vintage. It wasn't 59. It wasn't a burst.
It's an old guitar. It's a guitar you like.
It's like a Les Paul I got hanging up in my in my room for years. That's what it was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like if you have I don't know if you have one, but if you had a 2010 right now, that would be what that would be the equivalent. And so
Well,
it doesn't make any
we're just
sense.
saying the year didn't even matter back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Like, nobody
Well,
was even. They weren't even talking about guitars in terms of this year was different than this one.
Yeah,
It
and you
just wasn't
wouldn't
a thing.
brag right now. You wouldn't say, "Oh yeah, my Les Paul's a 2010," unless it was something
Right.
special
I
about
don't,
2010.
I don't think there was a collector's market back then.
No, there wasn't one at
No.
all.
There may have been one for for acoustics. I guess I could see there being maybe something for like pre-war, collectors being big on that stuff back then. But
They were just
electrics,
old.
yeah, electrics. God, at that point they weren't even 20 years old yet. Solid bodies anyway.
No, no. I
So
think
matter of fact, if memory serves, really the vintage market didn't really begin to take off until like the early 90s.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the
87
80s,
is 87 was the year that things started to creep up, and then by like 95 they were astronomical.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because I
So all of a sudden,
remember, yeah, I was looking for a guitar from my birth year or something, or the year I graduated or something like that. I don't remember. And all of a sudden the prices are crazy. And then you've got we've talked about this in the channel before, but let's Robert, what do you think of the who's the guy Jones from not Radiohead, the other one,
Adam
Tool,
Jones.
Adam Jones. So what do
Mhm.
you think of that?
Uh, well, I'm going to say this first while I got this thought in my head. I was born in '77. And you couldn't pay me any amount of money to, for me to buy a birth year guitar because, you know,
Yeah, you're screwed.
nobody's building guitars worth a shit in
We
87
were just
or
talking about
77
that.
rather.
We were just talking about that 2 episodes ago. How in the 70s was like the dark ages for electric guitars because there wasn't shit that was worth buying.
Yeah, well, and it's only been the last couple of years. '70s Gibsons up into the $8,000 range, which
Now they're reissuing
I
them.
wouldn't. Well, finally, for the longest time they did.
Are they
Gibson
going to come with
acknowledged.
pancake bodies?
Yeah, that I don't know, but Gibson wasn't. They wouldn't even acknowledge their anything that they did in the '70s. I think the first time they did was when they did that Guitar of the Week Gibson RD, that
Yeah.
Silverburst RD thing. That was like the first time that they'd ever acknowledged anything that ever did any kind of '70s reissue anything. But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's no way I would pay $8,000 or anywhere close to that for a '70s Gibson or Fender.
Yeah.
I,
I mean, people are crazy. Which leads me to the Adam Jones thing. The signature. I don't. I mean, people are kind of poo-pooing the whole Adam Jones signature Les Paul thing. Despite did they recover the ones that got ripped off on the Road Sweet? I didn't hear if they did or not. I'm assuming they didn't. So, did you guys hear about that?
Yeah, but we don't know whether they were recovered or not, or at least I don't.
yeah, I haven't heard they were recovered, but I did hear that Gibson is going to give those people their Les Pauls. They're rebuilding them, and they're doing something special so that you'll be able to tell you still got your guitar, but it'll have a thing that indicates that that's a real your guitar and not the fakes. Or I should say fakes, but the ones that were stolen, so that they can then figure out which ones got stolen, because they know what serial numbers went at. I mean, this is dumb.
Yeah, that was stupid when whoever that hit that Ron was hugely stupid. But I can't really. I don't. I mean, it's why everybody's making such a big deal. Yeah, they're expensive. They're insanely overpriced. But think about it. I mean, Tool are a band from the '90s. I was in high school, popular. I'm 43 now. Most of their fan base are about my age. We've got money now. we didn't then, but we got money now, and I don't know that I'm certainly gonna pay $20,000 for one of their guitars, but there are people in my age bracket that that are willing to do so, and and it's not anything different from from the Billy Gibbons, the aged Billy Gibbons that they did, the aged um, Randy Rhodes that they did, along all those the lines of all those other signature model
Oh no, I don't.
guitars that they
I don't think. I think that what they did was right. If you look at Tool, right, like you said, they were popular in the '90s into the early 2000s. They're still
Mhm.
popular. They just put out a new album.
Yep.
Uh, Adam Jones is a guitar player a lot of people look up to. I mean, I remember seeing that guitar on the cover of Guitar World, geez, a decade ago or so. I've still got it.
I've,
And
I've got a client right now that he has, he's called me. I bet you I talk to him 2, 3, 4 times a month. More than that when you factor in email. And he's about my age. I think he's 42, and he's a doctor now. He's got money, and he's a big metalhead, and he's a huge Tool fan. And there was a stretch there were probably 2 or 3 months that just about every single one of our conversations revolved around the question, can I get that Tool sound with this particular guitar amp or whatever piece of gear was he was looking at? Can I get that Tool sound? That Adam Jones tone from this. So you know there's a lot of people out there. I agree. He's influenced. He's not one of my favorite guitar players, but he has absolutely influenced a lot of people out there in my age bracket. So,
and my thing isn't that. I'm not. It's the actual 77, or his is a 79, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
70. It's
79.
77 or
Yeah,
I think
burst.
it's a 79.
Yeah, and he had the little mirror thing he put on it, whatever. It doesn't matter. The fact is, I had a 79 Les Paul Custom. Okay, it was a good guitar. I'm not. Hey, my mother sold it when I left. And back then, she got $500 for it in like a second in a dinky little town before the internet. Okay,
Wow.
which, believe it or not, back then, a Les Paul Custom really wasn't that much more than that. That's what's weird. And so I had spent everything I had earned for almost 2 years mowing lawns, all these literally shit jobs I did for 2 years to buy that guitar, and then she sold it on me. But it doesn't matter. What's the point is that it retained its value and it sold. But I went to look to buy a new one, right, when I had a little extra money, and then.
Right.
And then Adam Jones made him so popular, I can't get one. It's like,
And that happened relatively overnight too,
Yeah.
because in the 70s Les Paul, Silverbursts, I think they've always been popular, but it's only been here in the last couple 3 years that I've noticed people equating that guitar to Adam Jones. So it's his influence on that guitar, and I think that's also the reason why not only when you do see them, the prices are also 2.5 times what they were not even 10 years ago. So you remember selling a couple of those late 70s. There was one we had one in particular that a buddy of mine sold at the store. I think that one was a 1980, same era. This one, on the other hand, though, this was a Case Queen. Barely been played at all. The finish just started to turn green in a few spots, just from the age. Not a scratch on it, not a ding on it, not anything, no pick scratches, no swirls, nothing. It still had the little stickers on the pickup rings, even. This thing was as close to brand new as you could find for a guitar built 30 some odd years ago at that time. And we sold it for, if memory serves, that thing played like a beast too. God, that was a great guitar. I think we sold it for 3,500. And I remember at the time telling myself, man, I wish I had this kind of money that I could buy this guitar, because it's, this is right up my alley. But that guitar right now, I bet you would bring every bit of $8,000, if not 10.
Oh, yeah. Right now,
And
yeah, easily. David, you wanted to say something?
Well, I was going to ask. So are you after a similar vintage custom, or are you looking at something else?
Me?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm probably gonna wind up with a new one. To be honest, I don't need a vintage, vintage Les Paul custom. There's not number one. I don't want one that's beat up. I don't want one that's beat up. I don't even want one that's broken in. I want to do all that myself. So this is going to be one of those guitars that I know is going to stay with me for decades. It's going to be worth a lot more than what I paid for it, and I could, I suppose I don't. The only thing that I would be absolutely opposed to, if it was for that set of years in the Henry era when they went away from ebony fretboards and they were using Richlite. The Richlite personally doesn't bother me, but it's absolutely affects the resale value.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's those aren't going to be worth as much down the road. So now but they're putting ebony on them again now. So that's what I want. That's so like I'll probably just likely order a new one.
The funny part about Richlite is people, they poo-poo it like really hard, but I mean, you can see that there are still manufacturers using it, and they're usually using it
for decades.
Well, there's usually like the ones I think of that when they're using it, like Godin, are using it on their synth model guitars or their multi-voice guitars because it has an even frequency response compared to, and it for whatever reason it improves tracking.
Yeah.
So people are still using it in those kind of applications.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily think it's good or bad, but
it makes sense though.
it's just a choice,
That does make sense. I mean, regardless.
It'll only be unpopular until somebody really famous starts playing one, and then all of a sudden there'll be a run on them, and you won't be able to get the used vintage ones. But it'll be 20 or 30 years before that happens. Somebody's going to do it at some point.
I'm sure they will. But I can't predict that.
Yeah, right.
If you'd have asked me if Fender Squires would be selling for over $200 right now, I'd have told you were nuts. And yet,
the original ones, the Japanese ones.
No, wow, the Japanese ones. Jeez, some of those are going for $400 or $500.
I've seen them as high as $1,000.
Yeah,
the brand new ones.
Yeah, the brand new ones.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Japanese Squire. I've seen Japanese Squires go for $1,000.